Appreciate it. All right, welcome. We're getting off to a bit of a late start tonight. It is 6:34 p.m. It is July 23rd, 2025, and this is the Scituate Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Committee meeting. And we continue to meet remotely. Here's Jamil. On March 28th, 2025, Governor Healy signed into law an act extending certain COVID-19 measures adopted during the state of emergency. Specifically, it permits state and local public bodies to conduct public meetings in a hybrid or remote format through June 2027. This meeting will be recorded by Scituate Community Television and can be viewed live on Scituate Community Television Facebook Live. The recorded meeting will be available the following day on Comcast Channel 9 and YouTube Scituate Community Television. I will read our commitment statement. This is a safe, secure space for all people, especially people of color, and for all underrepresented people and communities. This is a space where people can bring up challenges and questions without fear. We will assume best intentions, and we will treat one another with politeness and respect at all times. This committee is dedicated to these standards. We want our members and others joining our meetings to feel welcomed and respected. Okay, thank you. So with that, I will call the meeting to order. Do I have a second?
Aye.
Thanks, Israel. All right, I will call the roll.
Start it.
No, you nailed it. Calling the roll. Israel.
Aye.
Ms. Sun. Ms. Gulata.
Yes. If you can hear me, yes.
We can hear you loud and clear, and I am a yes. Okay, so we are good. All right. Minutes. Let's see here. Who did we nail last time? We got you, didn't we, Elena?
Yeah, yep. And I failed my homework assignment.
That's the theme, because I failed for like 3 months and was sending out the wrong minutes and everything else. So.
I will say you set a good precedent where I didn't feel that bad.
Yeah, exactly. Do as I say, not as I do or did or whatever. It's like what I tell my kids.
I'll get them out by the next for our next meeting. I promise.
Okay, no problem. All right. I did send out. I finally did send out my minutes, which, my goodness, from February. Let's just go through the process. Just humor me. Did anyone have any comments on my February 24th, 2025 minutes? I'm sure you guys took a lot of notes on them and redlined them. Okay, good. So I would like to move to approve the February 24th, 2025 minutes. Do I have a second on that?
Second that one.
Okay. Ms. Gulata.
Oh, yes.
Ms. Sun.
Yes.
And I am a yes. I'm not going to ask you to approve them, Israel. You weren't here. So I'm just going to decree that they are approved. All right. Alphabetically, I really do think we're back to me. Yeah, I'm on the hook. All right, I'll do the July minutes. And then the next meeting after that will be, I think it'll be Israel and then Carrie, if I have that right. But these ones I will take care of. All right. Like I said, we do not have Natasha, and Angela has a conflict as well. I'm not going to try to recap everything Natasha is doing, but she is doing a lot. I think we reported in our last couple meetings, she kind of started the group that she's kind of started. It's gone through like 3 name changes, so maybe that's a good thing. It was the like Spaghetti Club, and then it was, I think, the Unity Club. Maybe that's what it's called now. I don't know if anyone has been on her.
Yeah, it started out as the as what's Spaghetti Club thing, and then it became the SET, which was the Situate Equity Team, and now it's Sun, which is the Situate Unity. I gotta remember what the N is, but no,
Network.
the Sun Network, maybe that. And
It
so
is.
Sun is the most recent iteration, which is dope. I like Sun.
Yeah,
Yep. And so what's happening now? The group is working on a Luminaria event taking place on one of the I'm not sure which shore it's taking, well, which beach it's taking place on.
it's going
But
to be at Museum Beach.
okay, man. So that's the thing that folks are currently working on.
Yeah. I know Angela's daughter, Dina, is
Hmm.
involved in that.
Yep.
And a number of the different churches, uh, throughout Scituate.
Hmm.
So, Natasha at St. Luke's, obviously, the First Parish Unitarian Universalist Church of Scituate. They're super involved. Um, there's some good energy there. Some of the folks involved with the Scituate Indivisible group are involved as well. Um, I would highly recommend. I mean, you know, Indivisible has different means. It's obviously more of a political group, um, but they're certainly. I think they've got some momentum as well. So
Yep.
if you can get on those email distribution lists, um, I would recommend that. Another thing I just wanted to mention, and I've talked about this in past meetings. Oh, here comes Shannon. Cool. Let her join. Hey, Shannon, welcome. We just got started. Um, I've talked about the Hingham Unity Council, the Hingham Unity Council in the past. I'm on their email list. If you haven't, go to their website, sign up for it. They do a lot of cool things. It looks like they're trying to go to the next level in terms of they're going to hire an executive director as a paying position as a 501c3 charity, which certainly signifies growth. I think they've gotten so much interest in some of the stuff that they're doing that they actually need a full-time role. Actually, I don't think it's going to be a full-time job, but I think it's posted on their website, or at least I got the email and I was interested to read that. So, anyways, all right, so that's my kind of initial. Uh, Jamil, how about an update from you? Hopefully, you're taking a little time off with the school year ending, but knowing you, probably not.
Okay, there we go. So not a lot to report, but I definitely was going to bring up what's going on with the Sun Group. And then that throughout the summer, there's a parent who also is a member of the Sun Group and I actually met, and I know Tom knows this, that I met Michelle Levesque, if folks know Michelle.
Yep.
She's a parent of two students in Scituate school system. And she's volunteered her time to work with our students throughout the summer to paint lit themed entryways or crosswalks to each of our schools. And so how this worked out was about almost 2 years ago or so, the school committee kind of said, hey, can we do this with our schools? Can we get some art or something like that on our crosswalks and things like that? Only caveat is that they need to be lit theme. Awesome, great, let's try and do it. So we were connected with some people and and we were connected with a group, but they were just too expensive to be frank with you. And it was just way expensive. And we just couldn't do that. And so through this group, we met. So I never gave up on it. And the students from our lit teams had created artwork for the crosswalk. So they all created what they wanted to see on the crosswalks and things like that. And so we had that for a little bit. And then through a chance meeting of myself and Michelle, we were sitting next to each other at the first Sun meeting. And we were just talking. And then she mentioned that she's an artist. I said, hey, we're trying to do this thing. What do you think? She said, I would love it. How do we do it? And da, 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 da. And so, make a long, beautiful story short, she ended up being the artist that we went with. And so she got all of the art that the students did and kind of reimagined it so it can work and fit what we needed it to fit. And then we showed it back to the students and the staff, and they loved it. It was all approved by everybody. And then we had the prototypes up, and so she just began. She had a schedule of dates where she would be at each school, and we had a list for students, whatever students wanted to sign up to be there for a limited amount of time or for the whole time, which usually was from she would get there at 9, but students could come from 10 to 2, and she would be there from 9 to 3. And each one of the schools would take 2 days to do after she took a look at everything and measured it out. And to I'm amazed and impressed is an understatement that she did all four of these schools. Actually, each of them only not only, but each of them were done in 2 days. And that span of time, like literally laid it out. The schedule worked out. The students came that could be there forever long they want to be there. And in 2 days, each school was done in a 48-hour time period. And it was just mind blowing to see it taking shape. At this point, there are only two. Hey, you got some. Awesome.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
there you go. That's the high school right there. So four of the schools got the entryways done, and two of the schools, Gates and Wampatuck, did crosswalks. And so that was just one example of something. I mean, they all are unbelievably fantastic. Like super, super. Like we have to like show extreme gratitude and unsurmountable. I mean, it was just fantastic what how this played out with a combination of the town. We had police detail there for the crosswalks, for the town, the school, the community, families. It's just a great collage of community and Scituate and the school and everybody working together to make this happen. There are only two locations left, so it'll be done. And this is always the part of the schedule, but they'll be done in time for opening in August. Um,
Yeah, you're
but
starting before
yeah,
Labor Day
right. The
this time.
27th is right there. No, it's not right there, but it's the 27th. So it's just beautiful to just see that unfolding and how it's happening. So when the students come back and all the staff comes back and they see that, I think it's gonna give people a lot of energy, a great feeling, and great movement. Um,
And
uh,
Michelle managed those efforts.
Michelle, well, between she and I, but she definitely is the captain of that ship. She took the art, made it what it is, and it shows up to the schools. And her daughter actually shows up sometimes to help out with it. And the students who can help out show up. And usually it's somewhere between three or four. And one time it may have been as many as 10 or 12 or something like that. But and the students are from all levels of the district kind of thing. But yeah, absolutely. Michelle Levesque is leading that. I'm a compliment.
She's very talented. I already
Super
knew that.
talented.
I already knew that. And so are her kids.
hmm As a mate, what she is doing with this is remarkable. I can't say enough about how stupendous this is and how she's just
Yeah,
getting
it's cool.
that home run. So, yeah, I'm glad you pulled up those pictures. She doesn't even she's not even done with that one. She said there's artists or artist critics, and so
Yeah,
there's another piece she wants to do to it, which is why she didn't actually send pictures of that one yet. But yeah, that's the one thing. The
awesome.
other thing I can share is that with our Citrus Meco team, we're in the final stages of hiring a new person to be on that team. Many of you may have met Cheryla Lestrade. She's not with us anymore, but her position that we're in the final stages of hiring someone to be her follow-up in that position. But the position will now be shifted a little bit in that there'll now be a coordinator for elementary schools and a coordinator for the middle schools. And Marcavius, as the director, oversees all of it, but he'll have a main connection to the high school. So that's a model that Marcavius was.
Did Dina take one of the positions?
Dina is the coordinator for the middle school.
Okay. I
But her
thought I
title
saw.
previously was coordinator for student success. Well, student success liaison. That was the title, actually.
Okay. Yeah, I thought I saw something on LinkedIn or I
Yeah.
don't know where I saw it, but yeah, good
Wow.
for her.
So those are good things. I'm
Cool.
trying to think if there's anything else that has happened since we paused. There's a lot of work done to the network right now. There's a new firewall being installed, and then over the next couple of days, I want to say maybe Thursday it's happening. There will be no Wi-Fi or internet services throughout the district on that date because they're going to install it. Um, that's a good thing. I think the tennis courts are probably done. They look last I saw they look nice. They look really nice. Made me want to play tennis. I have not played tennis.
It's too hot.
There we go. The
I,
rest
I've
of the stuff.
I've been using them, Jamil. They're awesome. They're
They're
really
nice,
nice.
right? So do you play? Are
Yeah,
you a
yeah,
tennis
they're really
player?
nice.
Like, do you play tennis?
No, I mean that's laughable. I play very casually because it's really fun, but I don't really know what I'm doing.
But as
But yeah, I've been playing weekly with some friends.
so, this
Yep.
is good. I mean, I ask you that because as someone who's been on different tennis courts before, from what I understand, this is like a premier serious court. Like they've done an exceptional job with it.
It really, really is. It's super, super nice. And every time I've been to play, and there's always been people there playing, at least two other groups of people. It's really great. And just the whole space at the high school is so nice. We bring the kids a lot. We were there with the two kids earlier today. They use the bike ramps and ride their bikes around and go on the field. Like it's just so nice over there.
It's
Awesome.
come a long way. I mean,
Yeah.
our athletic fields when I first moved to Scituate were uh, not up to par
Nice.
across the board, you know. And no, it's a huge improvement.
I'll share this with this group too. Recently, I took a moment and I've been playing around with AI a little bit, and then I said, "Hey, tell me about Citrus Public Schools." And then it came up. It says Citrus, and I'm just going to read what it says. Citrus Public School System is generally well regarded, with rankings in the top 50 out of 217 school districts in Massachusetts. It also ranks highly within the Boston area and Plymouth County. Specifically, Citrus High School is considered highly rated and has strong math and reading proficiency rates among its students. However, um, what is that saying there? Um, I can't. Something's happening with my phone there. And then it lists like the strengths and the strong academics, the dedicated teachers, positive school culture, good elementary schools, strong middle school, and then somewhere they have mentioned the middle school being awesome too. So that was something I shared, just a general. Hey, just tell me about Citrus Public Schools. That was a great. So that was
Cool.
Mhm.
Just in time for all my kids to be graduated.
They made it
I
possible.
Yeah, I was just about to say that.
don't know about that. All right. No, my kids had a great experience. They really did. So all public schools all the way through, and it was great. So all right, thanks for sharing that, Jamil. Any questions for Jamil? All right. Let's go over to you, Bob. We had a meeting. I could only attend the first half hour. Thank you, Bob, for setting that up with Josh Summers,
Right.
who now leads the veterans. I'm not. I was going to call it the Veterans Committee, but it's not the Veterans Committee. It's a full-time job. We were joined by Shannon. You were there in person, and Israel and I were both remote. And then, like I said, I had to drop after 30 minutes. Thoughts on that meeting, Bob? I mean, the half hour I was there, I thought it was great. Josh really, I think he was very, welcoming to our group, and
Right.
uh, didn't. Well, I'll just stop talking. Thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I think again he's been in the job for about a year, and I think he's done a really great job. I mean, we didn't have honestly the greatest reputation in terms of veteran services prior to him, so I think he's really stepped up and he's really passionate about serving that population. So he's a bit new to it. He hadn't really done it before. He had a lot of experience in the military previously, but just he's really stepped up and done a great job. But So it was just kind of, I'll give a quick summary, and if anyone wants to jump in and add anything, a lot of the work that he's done is really working with it's a Chapter 115, which is basically benefit paid to veterans. So he said we had about 800 veterans in the town. 11 of them are receiving that specific benefit, and that's a lot of his work, plus other sort of veterans benefits. And um, so a lot of the conversation was really focused on how do we make sure that we're reaching all the veterans regardless of their situation, disability, or whatever, and language issues. And he didn't think language issues was a particularly big one, but it became somewhat clear that there was always the possibility that there were people who were just not accessing services because they were just either not aware of that or not able to access them. It could be mobility issues or whatever that may be. So he's taken he engaged in a number of efforts, coffee houses, things like that, to try to sort of educate people and bring them in. But a lot of our conversations was about like how, what can we do to help to kind of get the word out there, to make sure that no one's excluded from receiving services. So we brainstormed a bit about that, and we kind of left it that he would really, I think a lot of us was even like looking at it from that perspective was somewhat new to him. So he also said he was going to kind of, step back and think about it, and maybe sort of, if he had any thoughts or ideas, give us some feedback. Um, we talked about a couple things like, maybe we're looking at, I told him we're looking at creating links on our SDEI page. If it was a veterans in particular who may land on our page that are looking for services, we could provide a link there. So we talked about him and I working together in terms of like what that verbiage would look like. So I'll have a conversation with him about that, and maybe that's a way we could help. And I'm just looking at my notes. Yeah, that was a lot of what the conversation was about. I mean, we really left it that he would just really sort of think about like what else we could do to sort of collaborate and ways that we could help him. I don't know, Shannon, Israel, if you guys have anything else that you want to add about the conversation.
Yeah, I don't recall there being an ask from him for us to look into or an ask for something to provide. I think, like you said, there was going to be something for him to go back on and see if there's anything we can, and we'll come back.
I'll add that he shared, I think the biggest challenge or pain point is just kind of channeling those questions that come in via phone or even people that show up in person, and they're not directly correlated to what his function is within the organization. And so providing more education or kind of maybe channeling or funneling those people with those types of questions to the appropriate sources, so he's not getting bogged down.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, it's just really adding another body to handle those types of requests that he's getting that are more, sounds like, VA related. And then he did hit on a little bit on involvement. And it sounds like partly from other veterans, right? If there's 800 veterans and perhaps they don't need services, they might be younger, they might have professional careers. And so financially, they might be sound, and, have a family and doing those types of things. And so how do we kind of get more engagement from those folks and other people that just want to support veterans? He did mention the parades, both Memorial and the Veterans Day parades were well attended and just well organized, and just a lot of thoughtfulness behind those. But he did mention, I think, to the memorials in Lawson Commons, and some things that are happening there potentially that could impact the veteran community. Particularly, I think he said Elise O'Connor or Elise Connor Memorial. So things that might be coming down the road within the next year that we might want to be cognizant of how that's perceived in the community.
Yeah, I mean, one point he made too that was interesting. He's always said this about working with veterans is that sometimes it's a very sort of proud group, and so kind of a tendency to kind of want to go it alone and to and thinking that they don't need help or assistance, and so sometimes that becomes an obstacle to kind of hooking people up to the services that they may benefit from. The one other conversation, it wasn't just we touched on it in the meeting, but I've even had conversations with other departments about this, is the idea that there's a lot of different services that are provided via the town. And kind of like they always people always use the term silos, where the Council on Aging has provided services, or the social worker and the Veterans Department and the police department, and they're showing up at the library, and none of these departments know that other departments are necessarily involved. So, and that's something, it's discussions that we've had in the town about how we can do something to kind of, to communicate better, and to make sure that like everyone knows what everyone else is doing, and even if it comes down to like specific client services. So that's something I think that a few department heads have had conversations about how we can do that better. So, it's interesting. I think in all the years that all the work that we've been doing, it comes down to so often to just to the issue of education and communication. It's about how do we reach the people that we need to reach. First question is like, who are they even? And then it's like, how do we reach them? And so it's the kind of that sort of obstacle that we faced with so many different challenges we've had in so many different departments. And I don't think it's any different with veteran services. So um,
Yeah, I mean, they have a lot in common with, you look at, and I think at one time we grouped them, Bob. We had,
right.
Veterans, we had facts, we had social services, and council on aging.
Mm-hmm.
They were all kind of like in a group, and that was the single biggest obstacle, was just making people in town aware that those services exist. And we spent the most time with Erica in social services. Her issues were acute. Hopefully they're a little better now. I know they're using some of that grant money that's shared between Cohasset, Hingham, and Scituate. But again, I mean, how do you communicate that? I know there's like a town fair every year, right? Where you can have a table and but then you have to drive attendance to that, right?
Right.
So
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, so I think it's just, continuing to work on that and continuing to communicate about how we can kind of do things better. And I think that there's a few staff who are just really sort of committed to that. But, and I don't know how involved Josh has been in that, but in that process. And so, I mean, some of the work that I think we do and I'll do with him is making sure that he's kind of like involved and he's part of those conversations so that like, the veterans aren't, inadvertently excluded from opportunities.
Yeah, I mean, even just the senior center alone, right? I mean, the building's beautiful, and I do know some people like that live kind of in my neighborhood that go, you know, people of a certain age, and they love it. And I know, but there's a lot of people in town that they either don't know about it, they're too shy, they're too proud. I mean, who knows, right? My mother's like that. She doesn't live in Scituate, but she's the same way. I don't need that. I'm good. But she would benefit because there's great programs. So, any other thoughts from anyone on that? Are there other similar groups, Bob, that we can? Because I feel like we're at a stage where we almost we don't want to. We still want to stand by our charge, but at the same time, I don't think we'd be not naive to think that there are people in this town that say, "Oh, the DEI committee wants to meet with me. I must be in trouble."
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
the term itself. I mean, I've had some pretty interesting conversations in the last few months, people that almost blindside me in town because they know I'm on this committee and I have to explain what we're all about. And like, you know, it is what it is.
Yeah, it's sort of become somewhat of a dirty word. I'm not sure why, but you know, I mean, the other thing we talked about last time is you know, the fact that we had, you know, we were looking for a new representative for employees on the committee. And so we've actually, through the select board, they've actually, what they'll do is typically send out an email saying, you know, any employees interested in volunteering and we have an opening. And so the Shari from the select board has actually sent out 2 broadcast emails to all employees and hasn't had a bite on it. So that was a bit discouraging. I talked to her today and she said like that she hasn't heard anything. We talked to one person who would love to do it, but just like it's the commitment in the schedule with children. It's just sometimes difficult. But you know, the other dynamic, just in terms of the employee representative, because we've had 3 or 4 different representatives, employee representatives over the years, and I've had conversations with all of them, and they've all sort of said the same thing. One of the struggles I think that they have with representing employees on this committee is the sort of the confusion or dilemma that they're faced with. Are they speaking for themselves or are they speaking for employees? And if they are speaking for the employees, how do they do that? Particularly with the subject matter such as this, where you know there's very much varying, you know, positions on like, you know, how people feel with on DEI. So I think that honestly, it's not that I don't think that we have employees or coworkers who are interested in this. I think that some of them are just sort of, it's a subject that they're not sure how they're going to navigate, you know, and so I think that more than anything else has resulted in the lack of interest, you know, unfortunately. So I'm not sure that we're going to get someone, to be honest with you. I mean, we can continue reaching out, but you know, I don't think it's anything we want to force in any way. So
Yeah.
Can I throw something out there? And I'm not necessarily sure if it's part of this committee or not. Just an idea.
Yeah.
And that I think it would sort of touch upon what you were saying, Tom, and a little bit what you were saying, Bob. What are the thoughts on potentially going to the Scituate, either elementary or high schools, and asking for volunteers to either go to the Scituate, to meet with the older people in Scituate in the senior center, or if we have veterans that we know of, I'm sure they wouldn't necessarily mind company. So you have somebody who can volunteer. Either elementary is going to be a little tougher because they're a little younger. A high school kid that goes to the senior center once a week, or one kid, or a different kid every other week, and they spend time there, and that sort of opens up the younger generation to the older generation, and it brings the older generation into the younger generation, and that would sort of open up and maybe let us know what they actually need versus them coming to us. Sort of like, I hate to say it, but like sort of using them as proxies to open up and letting us know what we need versus us trying to figure it out.
well, I know that currently, I'm not sure if this is kind of what you're speaking to is real, but there is currently a program with the senior center, with the Council on Aging, in which, and I think it must all just be high school students, but they're volunteering on a regular basis, and it may be, you know, through they have to do a certain number of community hours, and so I don't know if it's through that program or not, but I think that they actually have a relatively sort of structured program with the Council on Aging. I don't know a lot about it. I certainly can find out more. But and also I don't know in what context it's done,
Right.
and whether or not there's something you know, we could utilize that in some way to kind of inform us, sort of educate us. You know, that's certainly another certainly a conversation we can have with the senior center.
Because I think like even like partnering with that program, one, I didn't even know that program existed, which is fantastic. But partnering with that program, it would also sort of let the parents in the schools know that, hey, we're here if you need anything sort of related to what we do, and it would help out the communities that we can help out with in such a program.
No, I
Again,
Yeah,
I
I can
don't
add,
know
I
necessarily where we fall, but that was kind
No,
of
like bring the ideas, right?
Yeah.
Not that we're out of ideas, but bring the ideas. I mean, we want to have these types of discussions, and even if it's not a perfect fit with our charge, so to speak, it's it's a good idea. Sorry, Carrie.
oh, no problem. I was just going to say, sort of playing off of that, I like the idea. And then also there's the separate issue of just town awareness. Like, do people in town that would benefit from the senior center even know that it exists and know that they're welcome there?
Right.
And maybe that could high school students to help too. Something as simple as posters around town or knocking on door, like more of an outreach campaign to just raise awareness that the senior center is there and here's who's welcome and here's what we offer. Could also be a path to explore engaging students for.
Right. And Tom, you had mentioned a little while ago, it's like sort of what is that next step too is we've met with, at this point, I think really 4 or 5 different departments and others out there that we should engage with I mean, I think for us to do our work, we just have to understand that much better what all the different departments are doing and how they're doing it. And so, given who we've already met, the other departments we've already met, I mean, my thought would be, it could be either the senior center, the council on aging, or the library is the other one. I mean, the library does a ton of really good work, and they do a ton of really good education and outreach. And so and it would be with welcoming arms too. That's the other thing, is like they understand what we're doing, and I think they're of a similar mindset. So maybe it's like we continue down that road of continuing to kind of meet with department heads and understanding what they're doing, and again, that's what informs us of like what can we do and what impact can we have.
Those are two very logical groups to meet with. And I mean, obviously the library, I mean, God, they host events all the time. They host events that Jamil runs. We know where their head is at. Not that we need to do the easy thing, but they've always got a lot of ideas. They're very, active in the community across a lot of different facets. I mean, they're certainly an advocate, I think, for our work. But I think trying to get an audience with them and getting an audience with the Council on Aging, they both make a lot of sense. Because I mean, they can all work together. I mean, the library itself, they already have really sound communication mechanisms, and if we brainstorming with them, I think could potentially really go a long way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they could really be a partner with some of the stuff that we want to do.
Yeah.
I mean, if that's something we want to do, if we want to look at another department, I think that the Council on Aging, there's been a little bit of turnover with staffing, so we're trying to staff that back up. So the timing isn't great for meeting with them. Maybe easier with the library, if that's If you guys want me to reach out to Jessie in the library and see if she's interested in
I say go for it.
Okay.
I think that'd be great, and see if they're amenable to meeting, and then if you just want to shoot us an email and we can just raise our hands from that.
All right.
From a quorum perspective, 3 of us can do that. We don't need to figure out who the 3 are right now, but that's generally how we would do it. So 3 out of the 7. If 4 show up, then we got to take notes and all kinds of other craziness.
So I'm going to be on vacation the week after next, so it would be after that. But I'll talk to Jesse and I'll shoot everyone an email. We can brainstorm that way.
Okay.
And then I took up a lot of time already, but before I jump, I have one more thought.
Go for it. You have not. You have
And
not.
I'm going to
You
leave. Everybody can.
no, you have not
take
taken up a lot of time. I mean, please, please.
Probably not thought of at the town level, but the recent cut to the 988 hotline. Anyone have any thoughts on what can be done? I guess on the local level um, for
I'm sorry.
kids
What
who are
is that?
struggling. It's the suicide prevention hotline. For I believe it's meant for teenagers or young adults. Was the focus of it that was recently cut in the new uh, budget that was rolled out by Congress and signed by the president. So that will go out of service. I forget the exact date, but obviously it was a helpful tool while it lasted. Um, Probably not going to find anything on the local level to replace it, but maybe just some thought into it is what can be done. Obviously, we have kids and teenagers in Scituate.
Yeah, that came up. We just a couple weeks ago we had done a suicide prevention training for staff, and about 10 or 12 staff attended. Anne Marie Galvin, who operates Facts, she was present. That was like the 2 days after that law was passed. And really, what it is that there's a national kind of suicide prevention number people can call, almost like 911. And it used to if someone was, it was like, I think youth. I don't know if it was trans youth or just LGBTQ youth. They would actually they would have people who were specifically trained and dedicated to serving those individuals. People can still make the call to the 988 number, but they don't have the specialized, operators dealing with those particular calls. So Anne Marie talked a little bit about it. And she was saying it's unfortunate. The fortunate thing she saw is that it still exists. It's just not, it's not a focused, specifically trained individual. The town of Scituate actually pays for a membership to an organization which will do. Oh my God, I wish I could remember the name. See if I have it here. I don't. Um, that and if someone is looking for mental health services, it's a group that actually will help refer you to the appropriate service. We'll take your insurance. We'll be able to provide the specific services that you're looking for. If it's suicide prevention, substance abuse, anything like that. So that's something that we have. We subscribe to this particular service, and we'll continue to do that. It was something that Anne Marie shared. I can find that information out and share it with people, but um, you know, um, we kind of saw that change as something, unfortunately, and not really necessarily. We weren't sure that there was anything, actionable, if anything that we could do to affect change.
All right. I'm going to have to hop. I'm sorry, guys.
Yeah, no, I appreciate your input.
Take care.
I mean, along the suicide theme. I mean, that was one of the things that I know I certainly learned. Bob, you may have already been aware of it when we met with Erica. I mean, I'm not going to call it like an epidemic, but the threat of suicide is very real with the seniors as well. So it's a very underreported kind of situation, right? Not endemic to just Scituate, right? So
No, I mean nationwide in terms of suicide attempts, it's the most vulnerable group of senior white men, white seniors, and it was like the number of, I forget what it was. It was the number of attempts over a certain age. It was something like, well, I don't even want to say. I think I could be wrong, so I don't want to say. But the highest percentage was actually among seniors. You would think it would be whatever teenagers or something, but it's among seniors.
yeah, and obviously I think there's certain people, on my screen right now that are very aware of the services that Scituate Facts does provide. Anne Marie, I mean, she's a force of nature. I I was clearly, I mean, I've lost track of all the things that have been cut and so forth with the administration, right? So the fact that this was cut, I probably saw a headline at some point, and I'm just like numb to it. But I would imagine that somebody like Anne Marie's already got a plan. I'm not saying she does. I'm not trying to put all the pressure on her, but I'm sure she's thought about it. So, and that's just yet another great service that Scituate has that, in fact, probably does arguably one of the better jobs of communicating the services that they can provide. Again, if you're on their email list, I get emails notifications through fax all the time. So it's just making sure that all the services are cross-pollinated and cross-communicated across the different town departments and so forth. Certainly. So, all right. Let's see. What else do we have to discuss? I still, Bob, have on my to-do list because I'm still the gatekeeper with the website, and I've been slow to act on some of the stuff, but I still do. I've got a bunch of links still bookmarked and so forth. I don't really have a test bed to do it, but really kind of improving and adding various things to our kind of landing page, our diversity, equity, and inclusion landing page on the town website. There's a few things up there now, but I can certainly add more if people have links, if people have suggestions that kind of fit with our mission, our charge, whatever we want to call it. So I do intend to do that. Other thoughts from anyone?
So I wanted to share earlier in regard to what was mentioned about the hotline and assistance there. And AMG, if folks want to, you can direct AMG to me, and I'm happy to work with her on anything. But I absolutely believe there are things that we can do the same way that we got together and started the Freedom Team.
Yep.
We have people, we have clinicians that absolutely, I believe, will make themselves available to keep a service like that going in our community. And I don't think they would charge to do that kind of thing. These are times where we have to remember the resources and the people in our community. I believe that people, the way Scituate was a great place. And again, the example I have is when people showed up when this thing happened in my regard. And people just showed up out of love of their hearts and some people who felt, I don't know, a different way about equity, but still showed up and stuff like that. So I think that if we need to, we can tap into a number of resources and people that would say, you know what, I'm happy to help out and get a schedule together and have some availability happening. It doesn't have to be something sanctioned and go through a whole bunch of challenges. We could just do this. And have it with people who are certified clinicians and in this specific area and assisting people, whether they be veterans, students, at any age, regardless. You know, it's because dying by suicide hits every age and everybody. And so we got resources in our midst that we can tap into if we wanted to make that happen. I absolutely believe we can do that, and I'm happy to help out with that.
Okay.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Also, I wanted to share that I didn't mention this earlier. When you mentioned Scituate Indivisible, I read, there's a rally that they do every weekend on the St. Luke's Church. I just want to share with folks. I
There
think
is. It's
Saturday, I think. Right?
I think it's Thursday night.
Thursday night? Okay.
Don't quote me on that, but
I think it's actually Sunday at 10:30.
See, why do I
Okay.
question
There
Jamal?
you go.
They had the John
Why
Lewis
do I
one on
question?
Thursday, so that's probably why you're thinking of Thursday.
Okay.
That was it.
Yeah, I know they're pretty active. And I know they really want to see younger people. And with the exception of me, that's everybody. The average age is like well into the 70s. And yeah, so.
Jamil or Shannon, do you have the contact for getting on is there a list, an email list for the Indivisible group that we can join?
I do.
Awesome.
I can email it out to the group after.
Perfect.
Yeah,
Thank you.
pretty involved with that group as well, so I've gone to all the meetings except for the one yesterday, but been participating in everything. They're a great group, and if anyone ever has any questions about anything, I'm happy to help her answer.
Yeah, their emails alone are good, right? So that they have links all over the place, and they just kind of tell you what's going on. And this is our next meeting, and so forth. So I've been pretty impressed. You know, it's spun up quickly, and they're rolling. So
Yeah, they kicked off in April. I think that was the very first meeting. So they've done
Yeah.
quite a bit in a short period of time.
Exactly. They've definitely got some momentum, so that's good. To your point, Jamil, I'll contact Anne Marie.
Okay.
I wish I knew about this last week because I hung out with her on Saturday night for a little while, just at our beach. Her mother lives up the street from me, so long story. But so I'll see if she's got some time, and I'll schedule I need 10 minutes of her time, so I'll schedule an hour. If you know Anne Marie, she likes to talk. So yeah. So let me do that, and then I'll report back. See what her thoughts are. I'd be surprised if she isn't already moving on something, but I don't want to put too much pressure on her. So cool. All right.
So can I just say, I was just able
go
to
ahead.
look to the facts website, and I found the service is called Interface, the one that we actually subscribe to. So just so people are aware, and I can send a link of this to everyone. But what it is a program that you can use and actually or call and actually find a mental health provider. It will match you with the provider based on what your need is and what your insurance is and things like that. So it's actually Anne Marie's spoken highly of it, and I think it's been it's I think sometimes navigating the mental health system can be really difficult for people. So it's helpful in that regard a lot. So what I'll do is I'll send a link to everyone just so they have a sense of what that is. And I think it's actually an underutilized service that the town provides. A lot of people who were involved with Anne Marie are aware, but
Okay. Cool. And that's something the town pays for, or is it paid for by like the fax grant?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure if it's directly paid for by the town. I don't think it's paid by the. I mean, the fax grant is actually expired.
It expired, didn't it?
Right, yeah, it was a
now
10-year
it's a
grant
town
for
department.
cancer. Right.
Yeah.
So
Okay, cool.
so the town is actually paying for fax through the opiate settlement money that all municipalities had received years ago. And but I believe that this particular
makes
service,
sense.
I think it's like $30,000 a year. I think the town pays for it.
Okay. For interface?
Yeah, for Interface, yeah.
Okay.
What I'll do is I'll just send a link to the fax page that has that specific section on it.
All right, cool. Thank you. All right, we are nearing the bottom of the hour. Does anyone else have any other items that they would like to bring up? Okay. The last time I attempted to schedule the next meeting, we ended up having it 8 days after I said we were going to have it. So I'm not going to try and do that this time. I'm on vacation the week of the 4th, so I will at least try to schedule something either the week of the 11th or the 18th. And I will try to do a better job communicating that. So with that, I would like to call for the meeting to be adjourned. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second.
Thank you. Whoever said that. Calling the roll. Ms. Burke. You
What do
can
I
just say
say?
yes.
Yes.
Very good. Ms. Sun.
Yes.
Ms. Galata.
Yes.
And I'm a yes. So the meeting is adjourned. It is 7:28 p.m. on July 23rd.